Good evening, everyone. I know when I walked to the podium, everyone was looking at me as to when is she going to start? We normally wait for the intro video to end and then I start. So good evening and welcome to everyone. Dr. Randall Corallison, Dean, Johannesburg Business School, Professor Abejide, Ade-Ibijola, I practiced that, our inductee this evening. Professor Ibrahim Mamoniat, Professor of Applied Mathematics here at UJ, welcome the respondent, senior leaders of the university, members of Senate and other academics, distinguished guests. I see an array of students as well in the audience this evening, easily distinguishable, I think, by the frocks, the light blue frocks that you are all wearing. All who have joined us, Goeienaand, Sanibonani, good evening, and Tobela. It is indeed a great honor and special privilege for me to welcome you to the Professorial inaugural lecture of Professor Ade-Ibijola. As I do so, I wish to express a warm welcome to his loved ones, special guests, and colleagues. Colleagues, we do have his family members here this evening, and I do want to extend a special welcome to his family. We have his mother, Dr. Elizabeth Ade-Ibijola. Welcome. Welcome. We have his sister here this evening, Miss Babakemi Ade-Ibijola. Welcome. And the little gentleman in the middle is his son, Albert Ade-Ibijola. Welcome. I think it's truly special when you have family members here, right? Very special. This is a proud and joyful, yet a landmark moment for all of you, for Professor Ade-Ibijola, for us here at UJ, for higher education in South Africa and beyond. The inauguration of professors is a public ceremony in which newly appointed professors are inducted into office by the Vice-Chancellor and deliver their inaugural address. The ceremony has its roots in medieval university and serves multiple purposes. First, it is an expression of welcome and an entry for new professors joining the circle of colleagues who are already professors. Secondly, it provides a platform for professors to display their expertise in the discipline and to showcase their research. In the colonial traditions subscribed to by many universities, assuming the role of professor refers to the gown and the cap. Once we have listened to the inaugural address, the gown denoting the professorship will be formally assumed. Today, we gather to witness Professor Ade-Ibijola's entry into the illustrious community of scholars at our university. It celebrates his contributions to the discipline and ultimately his impact on society. Professors provide a university with its identity, character, academic legitimacy, and our integrity. The inaugural lecture is a rite of passage following the confirmation of the appointment of a person as a professor. The power of the inaugural address is when their expertise is showcased beyond the corridors of the university and reverberates within society. It also stands out as a moment of pride for the incumbent, their family, fellow scholars, the university, and ultimately society. In the past, several philosophers and scholars have defined university using very narrow conceptualizations. For example, the search for truth, for universal knowledge, and even as instruments serving the purpose of the economy or being very utilitarian in nature. Through our work and research at UJ, I hope that we can break out of these narrow conceptualizations and reflect on the university as contributing to the public good, working towards societal impact. What then is the role of the intellectual? Edward, in one of his articles, defines the role of an intellectual as follows, and I quote, "One who commands a vast knowledge of a specific discipline, one who is rigorous in the analysis of literature, who views being an intellectual as a vocation, and who functions as a kind of public memory to recall what is forgotten or ignored, to make the connections that are otherwise hidden, and to provide alternatives for mistaken policies." End of quote. It remains then for us as a university with a Pan-African vision to derive our mandate as intellectuals and as professors. And importantly, how we embrace the role of a professor as a disruptor while continuing to be a flagship carrier of disciplines. This evening, we will listen to Professor Ade-Ibijola as one further step in the journey of being a professor. This is a journey which does not conclude once this lecture has been given. Notwithstanding, the inaugural lecture does create an opportunity for a self-reflective pause in the journey of a professor. Let me now invite the Dean, Dr. Randall Carolison, to introduce Professor Ade-Ibijola. I thank you, Ria Leboga, Niabonga, baie dankie.
Good evening, everybody. I have very strict instructions not to close this thing, so. Professor Khan, the Vice Chancellor, is functioning tonight. Professor Ibrahim Momo Niat, the Ibijola family, welcome. Colleagues from JBS, staff from UJ, students that have come from far, good evening and welcome to this very illustrious occasion. The Johannesburg Business School, as a very young school that started only about 5 years ago, could not have wished for a more illustrious inductee as its first inductee in the person of Professor Abejide. He epitomizes everything that we strive for at the school: Africanness, youthfulness, integrity, intelligence, loyalty, and a passion for Africa. When I arrived there, he overwhelmed my senses with all those grand plans that he had. So I'm still trying to, I'm about 50% through all the plans that you've put forward. But I will catch up. Yeah. But I'm sure you by then have moved on. So on a more formal note, Professor Abejide is, now I'll use his first name because we all call him Professor Jide, although I know that the term Ade in front of that means royalty. Yeah? It's crown prince of sorts. Professor Abejide Ade-Ibijola is an accomplished academic with a strong background in artificial intelligence and applications. He holds a BSc Honours, First Class Honours, a master's degree with distinction in research, and a PhD in computer science in artificial intelligence from the University of the Witwatersrand, Johannesburg. With over 16 years of experience, Professor Ade-Ibijola has made significant contributions to the field of AI through his research, teaching, and mentoring. Currently, he serves as a full professor at the University of Johannesburg, UJ, where he was appointed at the very tender age of 36. He is also a distinguished professor at Washington University. In addition to his academic positions, he is the founder and chairman of Grit Lab Africa, a social project aimed at training young Africans in grit and programming. And these people, you can just look at their nice grit attire. I wish I could get one, Professor. He's also the founder and president of Machines with Minds, a private technology incubation hub that supports young innovators across Africa. Throughout his career, Professor Ade-Ibijola has received numerous awards and recognition for his contributions to teaching, research, and innovation. He has been a two-time winner of the Vice Chancellor's Award and the Dean's Award at the University of Johannesburg. He has also been recognized with the South African Public Service Innovation Award 3 times and has received the Africa Continental Award on 3 occasions. It's okay to clap. These accolades highlight his excellence in academia and his commitment to making a positive impact through his work. As a researcher, Professor Ade-Ibijola has published over 80 articles in recognized outlets focusing on AI algorithms and innovations for solving real-world problems, emphasis on real world. His research work has garnered significant attention with over 1,000 Google citations and an H index of 13. His interest spans various areas, including rule-based AI algorithms, applied AI, game AI, and serious games, and the design of new computational algorithms. In addition to his research and academic achievements, Professor Ade-Ibijola has been successful in securing substantial funding for research, innovation, and social development. He has contributed over 375 million or 20 million US dollars in research, innovation, skills, and development funds. This funding, he has plowed back and supported initiatives such as training youth technopreneurs, skilling entrepreneurs with AI tools, and providing training for unemployed graduates. Professor Ade-Ibijola's impact extends beyond academia. He has been actively involved in creating innovations for the government of South Africa. He has trained unemployed graduates in computer programming, developed software applications for government agencies, and provided training to small businesses on how best to leverage AI and digital tools to improve their operations. Furthermore, Professor Ade-Ibijola has made significant contributions to the African continent. He has mentored young Africans across 26 countries, delivered keynote addresses at universities and conferences in Kenya, Botswana, Nigeria, to name but a few. He has held international positions and engaged in activities worldwide, including serving as a visiting distinguished professor at Washington University in India, and has given talks at prestigious institutions such as the University of Oxford and Cornell University. In summary, Professor Abejide Ade-Ibijola is a highly accomplished academic and researcher in the field of artificial intelligence. His expertise, leadership, and commitment to making a positive impact have earned him numerous awards and recognitions. Through his social projects like the Grid Lab Africa and his private technology incubation hub, Machines with Minds, he's actively contributing to the development of young innovators and the advancement of AI solutions in Africa. His research, mentoring, and collaboration have made and will continue to make significant impact both locally and internationally. We salute you, son of Africa.
Good evening, everyone. All protocol observed. My name is Luisa April, and I will be performing a song that I've written specifically for Jide to celebrate today.
Did you want it? Did you want it?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, let me just adjust it for you.
Are you a kingsman? Are you a kingsman? In the world of AI, he stands tall. A pioneer. With wisdom and knowledge, he guides the youth, bringing them closer to a world of solutions. Over 2,000 lives, over 38 African countries. $22 million in market value of scarce skills across Africa. People who can now live, work, and thrive. People who can code, who are entrepreneurs, who solve today's problems. People who are soldiers, who have grit. So I ask you, are you a king's man? In the heart of Africa, where dreams take flight, a beacon of hope shines ever so bright. From the streets of Johannesburg to the farthest lands, Abejide with a vision so clear. Great Club Africa, the journey has begun. Training young minds one by one. Great Club Africa, the journey has begun. Shining a light on who we are. Are you a king's man? Are you a king's man? I am a king's man. Together we will shine. Together we will shine towards the sky. Are you a king's man? Are you a king's man? I am a king's man. Together we will shine. Together we will shine across the skies. I am a king's man.
We can enjoy it all.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for sparing your precious time to come listening to my talk, my inaugural lecture. It's lovely to see all of you. It's one of the first times I will be in a room where I literally know everybody in the room. I'm not sure that's a good thing. It's nice to see some fresh faces sometimes, but thank you, colleagues and family members, friends from far away, the ones that flew down from the UK, the ones that came from Kenya. I thank all of you for being here. I'll keep to time. I'll rap it if I need to, like rap music. So today I'm just going to share what I decided I was not going to go the conventional way, and you predicted that because it's the way of innovation, isn't it? Yeah. Because if it's in a box, then it's no longer innovation. If I were to come here and just do another inaugural for you and tell you about how nice computer algorithms were and the X's and the Y's, you might think I'm smart when I was done, but you might not get much out of it. So I thought I should share with you my own story, in fact, the whole spectrum. But I'm still going to stick to the academic structure to it. I'm going to speak about my research, my teaching and learning, my work outside of the university, which university actually invest a lot in so that they're impactful on the society. So I called my talk Mind, Heart, and Grenade. I remember a comrade, Judy Peterson, where are you now? Signore is there. He gave me a call on WhatsApp and he asked me, grenade, Judy, are you bringing some grenades? Yeah, grenade is impact on a large scale. So it's just a metaphor. So it's the story of a career of innovation. I'm going to give you some introduction, like some background, and I will talk about some things that keep me up at night. I call them the existential questions. They're the reasons why I cannot just show up in this business and do it the way everyone would do it. And it's the reason why I run into trouble sometimes as well. So I'll share some of those questions with you. Then I would talk about innovations in my research. For me, I work it backwards. For me, I innovate, then I write about it. So most academics think of a research question, research problem, gather some data, try to answer those questions, and they publish. So I think of a problem. I solve it with a piece of technology, then I now write about it in the end. So for me, it's like the other way around. So I'll talk about the innovations in my research in AI and applications. It's something I'm very passionate about. Then innovations in teaching and learning. Some people in this room, Maria is right there. Teaching and learning was something I thought that if my students got the content right and they were happy, I had done the job. But there's this gang at UJ called TPAC. So they taught me a lot about teaching and learning, that it's closing the loop. I remember Professor Sivan Chetty sitting over there, first looking at my teaching portfolio and said, Jide, you're a great teacher, but you need a philosophy. I was like, what is that? So I had to read about teaching philosophies and all of that. I'm going to talk about that, how I changed the pedagogy of teaching programming. The belief has always been that if you're mathematically inclined, you could learn programming. If you're not, then life is over for you. You can never code. So I changed that. Literally got people in politics and religious studies, in any field you can ever imagine, to write code. And they were very good at it. So I changed that. So I'll share some of my work in that space with you. Gallery of innovations is by no means an exhaustive list. It's just the ones that my soul just picked. They thought I should. Where is the guys that are working with me on the slides? Yeah. Those guys there, they thought, so you should put this one. Yeah. So those are the guys that put together my slides in LaTeX. And of course, societal impact, which is, for me, professorship at this age, it's a blessing, and sometimes you feel like it's a curse. Because now you ask yourself, what are you going to do after? Your whole lifetime is still ahead. I didn't even think I was the only one until I spoke to another young professor. And he's right here. Olani Fawele, where are you? Professor Fawele? Yeah, he's right here. So I gave him a phone call. I said, my friend, what do we do in the next 5 years? If we're 5 years closer to retirement, it's an easy answer. We just become dean or something and we go to retire, yeah? but then, man, we advanced our late 30s or early 40s, and retirement age is 65. Sounds like a prison time. So societal impact then become top of our list. We needed to leave our classrooms and reach out to other kids that are less privileged in other universities around Africa and try to solve things that we whine about and things that we just complain, to remove that mindset of victim mindset. Everybody was colonized at some point anyway, so we wanted to throw that out of the window and just solve with a laptop in our hands. So then I'll share some spoils of war, I call it, which is like victories and awards, and some of which you've already seen. Introduction, is this a story like I said? I'm going to hide the battle scars. So when I'm done on this podium, you might think everything went so smoothly the way I told the stories. It did not. It did not. In case you're trying to replicate my model, I'm sorry, it did not go as smooth. There were days I failed, and I just went to sleep, and I came back the next day to fight again. There were days where I was told a lot of no's, and no is so bad for an innovator like myself. I like people that can see the vision and then tell me yes, even if they think I'm crazy like my dean. My dean, when I joined the business school, says, Jide, clean canvas, do whatever you want. And he started calling my lab a crutch because he saw young people coming in there. He started bringing investors and big people to come see what we do there. So he believed in, like, do what you think will change the world. And right now, okay, it's the first time I'll publicly disclose my age. I'm 38. I'll be 39 in June. But then we wrote an app, actually, to actually estimate what true age is about. We've seen it many times, where you have a big company, the CEO is 24 years old, the security guard is 66 years old, and the company is running fine. And you're asking yourself, am I too young to be in this space? And this one is for Greek lovers that are listening to me right now. Where's Ruan? Ruan? Yeah, that's Ruan over there. So Ruan was the one that led that team. We created an app that app takes what you've done with your life and estimates your age. So when I checked my age, Ruan, how old was I? 56. Good. I was 56. And we experimented with some profiles of people that were in their late 60s, and the app said they were 24, because you just did the routine thing. Okay, I know, okay. They did just a piece of job for many, many years in a routine little space, and then the app was waiting for more out of that lifetime. A lifetime is a long time, and it's a blessing. So, yeah, we wrote an app. It's called True Age. If you'd like to know your true age, please. Ruan, wave again. So we wrote the app. You can know. So apparently I had saved 17 years, again, which becomes a curse now, because now I have to wait 17 years in academia or nothing. So, which I'm going to get to that part. And this is by no mistake a success story, back-to-back book. I'm sorry if that's what you're looking for. I'm sorry to disappoint you. In high school, I was not even the brightest guy. In high school, I used to get average marks. My mom here used to beat me. Don't worry, nobody's going to arrest you. She used to, because I would leave school. I thought I was going to be a footballer. Yeah, that was my dream. Then it was the days of J.J. Okocha. That's a Nigerian, very notable footballer. So I failed chemistry a couple of times, failed physics. At some point, I thought I was not smart. So when I now see kids today saying they're not smart, I laugh at them. But I know, let me show you how. It's there. We just have to dig it out. It is right there, like that. So the biggest part of my work is looking at a young person and selling them a dream, even when they don't see it. And guess what, in South Africa, that was magical for me. So this country was like the right soil at the time and at this time to sow that seed. Maurice Masuta knows what I'm talking about. Sitting there, Dr. Maurice Masuta, where a local child could feel like they're nothing, but you just look at their eyes and you tell them otherwise. They too, they show up in the lab and they do magical things. So, and that's what I've been able to do. So, who is to blame for all of this? My dad is a professor, retired professor of mathematics, Professor Emmanuel Ade-Ibijola. He showed me that dream. He was also the one that said, probability is a thing. And he said to me, if you were to want to be a footballer, it's a good dream. Yeah, let's play along, like it is. Just that how many footballers are going to make it to the college team, to the state team, to the national team? How many of them are prone to injuries? How many of them will make it to the top 11 or the bench? And when they get an injury, how many of them are going to be able to come back? And what is the population of our country? At the time, I think we were about 180 million. Now we're 230 million in Nigeria. And he said to me, your chances are very slim. And he says, but, if you chose to go this way of academic and become a professor, what's the worst that can happen? You end up in a classroom with salaries. With a salary. So I bought into his dream, but I didn't want to be a professor of mathematics because his publications will overshadow mine on the internet. Because when they cite him, they think it's me, and when they cite me, they think it's him. So I then chose computer science, and that was after wasting a whole year between high school and varsity, trying to find myself again. So it was not always rosy. That was just a lie. So he couldn't make it today. His wife is here. So acknowledging my mom, thank you, Madam Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic for the acknowledgement. My mom, Dr. Elizabeth Ade-Ibijola, she has a PhD in education herself, a couple of master's qualifications as well. She's been in academia, both on the admin side and the academic side, and she's retired now. My brother that couldn't make it, but there are souvenirs that will be distributed later on. He created those as a gesture of goodwill to me. My brother, Dr. Ade-Ibijola, absent, is a senior lecturer in international relations and public conflict resolution. He likes to work in that space. My younger sister here, Bella. Where are you, Bella? Yeah. So she's the CEO of Bella Madama. She wore this thing. She made this thing I'm wearing. So when I speak to her about entrepreneurship, I always tap into her mind sometimes because now I'm taking AI into the space of entrepreneurship. So she's assisting me as per what is obtainable on the street, because sometimes as academics, when we write about entrepreneurship, we just do questionnaires, but she's there coaching about 100 people in her shop in Lagos, Nigeria, and she's collecting real-life data about how people improve. And the future king, Albert, get up. So Albert's the future king. I wanted him to sit in here to see how it's done. Boy, it's going to be your turn soon when I'm tired. And to La Familia, Great Love Africa in the house, to all of you listening to me here and the ones that are not here, this is for you. Thank you very much. Without you guys, I had no purpose. I was just a guy that found purpose in training young people. And I built my career around that. So literally, all right, thank you. So I'm going to move very fast now. The welcoming story is over. So 2003, I was a first-year student, university, National State University. 2009, that's what my dad told me, no, you're not going to be, because I was writing software in the industry. And then in Nigeria, in Lagos, if you had a Camry, if you're driving a Toyota Camry, and you're like 24 years old, and you had like small change in the pocket, you could buy a few beers in the pub, then you were a big boy, you know? So, but my dad said, no, that's not the end of life. I went back, I did my master's. 2013 was my first day in this country. It was 17th of Jan, 2013. I came to Vet University. A lady there, Professor Sigrid Yvette and Professor Ian Sanders, they took a chance on me. They said, let's see what this guy can do, all right? They took me in as a PhD student, and I finished the thesis, submitted in 2015. FISMOS 4 happened, but then I graduated in 2016. I was a sectional lecturer there for about 2 years during my studies as well. Anytime you put me in front of people to teach them something, do not hope they will not understand it. That's the problem. So if you don't want them to understand it, don't call me, all right? I'm the guy that breaks things into the milestones and makes sure everybody understands what I'm talking about. So that was such a talent that I realized at that time of my career, so I milked it. I held on to it. So then electrical engineering guys called me for game design. At that time, I had not touched Unity 3D at all. I told them yes. So I ran to my laptop. I downloaded videos. I went to Coursera. I watched some videos over the weekend. And on Monday morning, I was a game design lecturer. So then Professor Van Leeuwen is sitting right here. Where is he? Right there. Then hired me in 2016. He sat across the room. He looked at me. He even gave me a mug. I still have the mug you gave me and the notebook. And he hired me as a senior lecturer in applied information systems. And then there was when the train started moving so fast under his leadership. Then prior to that or in between that, I've never left the industry because it keeps me sharp, if it makes sense. I'm in AI, so I can't just sit on my mathematical equations all day long, and I need to know what the guys out there are doing. So I did some work in Ilovo. It's a private company. When I say private, I don't want to advertise. They didn't pay me to advertise them. So I'm not going to mention the names of the companies, but if you check my CVs, you probably see it. So in Rivonia, I did some work in 2016 as well. And there was a multinational when I was in an IVP team. It's like finance. So I applied AI and software across spaces, sectors, which then gave me this view that I came to the classroom with. And this timeline is almost done. I then became an associate professor in 2019. That was when Professor Sivan broke my heart when I went to him with my teaching portfolio. Sitting right there. Says, Jide, there is no philosophy in this thing. I didn't know there was a philosophy that was needed. So he coached me how to put those things together. Then I became an associate professor. And then I jumped ship to JBS to meet the dean, who is not a conventional dean. He's an entrepreneur, he's a society person. He's a solver. The box keeps him too tight. It was like me, but a older version. Older version of myself. So it was kind of rebel meets rebel. So yeah, it would approve things I want to do on short notices and all of that. Then today is today, 2024, Professorial Inauguration, where you guys have spent your expensive afternoon or evening to listen to me. Why did I call it this? So I thought about it that what I'm actually doing is almost like ripping out my heart, like literally rip out my heart. Everything I've learned throughout my years from my mind, rip it out as well, maybe with a knife or something, sounds gruesome. They put it together, wrap it, and put a grenade, a military grenade, explosive. They remove the pin, then gather around me every young person I can find in Africa, just so that every one of them can have a piece of my mind, but not just my mind, because the world doesn't lack smart people. The world has a lot of smart people. Problem is they're not accessible. So I wanted to give access to what I knew. That's the grenade part of things. So, Manier, there's no grenade. So all I've learned with rigor, and someone must care, I realized that because I was from an academic family, it was very routine. Academia was very routine, traditional. Another first students, they graduate, no jobs, nobody cares. And how many output do we have? It was easy for me to get into the classroom and just call everybody 85, 92. Get one of those, what's it called? I pass marks, or what's it called? Like those metrics of measuring good teaching. And then I would just walk away. But then I would feel so much void. In fact, I wouldn't have those young people sitting in the room right now. Some of them are software engineers already, feeding their families. So I wanted to be the guy who was willing to empty the tank, which is put everything in, transfer every skill that I have, because the thinking was that if they all have my skill, then that's like me replicated in many places, which is what I'm enjoying right now. So I'm that guy. Then grenade, of course, is killing the effort, and motivation is that I just thought, what do I have to lose? It's one lifetime anyway. Yeah, it's one lifetime. If I don't do anything, I die. If I do something, I see that. So, and that's what I call 3 flashes, which is something that I would just say, myself, I'm not supposed to be standing in front of you. The 3 times I have survived incidents that would have taken my life. So I don't think my life is mine. It's for everyone that crosses my path. So because it's just a blessing that I'm enjoying day by day now going forward. So I can as well give it. Yeah. So me at work, like every other academic, the JBS, I do some postgraduate supervision. My research is in AI and applications, teaching and mentoring. Mentoring for me is teaching, all right? Not content. Mentoring is teaching. Someone that is not afraid of you, can ask you anything, and then you can just show them the way. Then I created this space where Luisa was singing about, Kingsman Academic, because I realized a big challenge was identity. Every kid that came to me wanted to either be black or white or Indian, then be Christian or Muslim or pagan, and they want to be male or female. And there's so many lines they have to, boxes they have to tick. I said, why can't you just be me? So I showed them a dream. The dream was that you're going to be me, and I'll be you. Meaning that I won't discriminate you. If you're a Muslim, when it's time for prayers on Friday, you go pray, you come back to your laptop, all right? And if you're female, I'm going to be like a mentor to you. No discrimination. You're me, I'm you now. But I'll transfer everything I know to you on one condition, however, that you won't discriminate the other person. So we created our space, was such a safe space. Now we've graduated for HS now. We have alumni. Kingsman, I put alumni in the house. Raise up your hand. Yeah, so those guys are the They're the OGs of the game, and they forced me to go to Instagram with them and create an Instagram account. And I wasn't that young, but I went with the flow. So, and I did some work in job creation. It's my passion, equipment funding, raising funds, those numbers you had earlier on. And then, of course, things academics do, all these other things. And then now, this is where I'm at in my career. I will, so my boss is listening, KPI boss. I have another boss, Professor Molloy. Thank you so much, Prof Molloy, are you there? Yes. I'm working here, Prof. Please, five star, Prof. Yeah. So this is where I'm at right now because I had to create a box on the side. If you see the yellow box is the university. But society is so much of concern for me right now, so I had to create that box. I don't mind if it's 0 rand. So the engine, as you can see, there's a box here that no arrow goes into it. Every arrow that leaves that box. Those are these young people you see here. Someone needs to transfer the skills for them to be able to create the future tech, and then we make money, and then we feed their families. SDG 1, all those fancy SDGs you hear, they cannot happen when an African is sitting there and they are disconnected from the actual knowledge, but they have so much theory in their minds and all of those things that we do. So give them some direction as well. So when they come to me and they tell me they want to be footballers like I told my dad, you can guess what I would tell them. So all of that happens in that space. I'm in 26 African countries, alumni. The pools of skilled undergraduates, though, they come straight into this lab, which is actually a physical space, graciously granted by my dean here, Dr. Randall Carolison. In that space, I allow students to pick between being a designer, a developer, solvers, generally speaking, algorithmically level. Most of my colleagues have hired my students. They always come back to me and they're like, wow, Prof. Tia Devet, you still have one of them with you, Lungi Kani. I trained him from first year. So they love the space. And I also sometimes have research assistants because I've been able to turn even second-year students into researchers at that early stage. So, but the beautiful thing about that is if we were able to create a prototype from that lab, it turned into things that we have writers for. PDRFs can write about it. PhD students can plug it into their thesis. Masters, now I've got MBA students because I'm in a business school. I have a special interest group in AI and digital transformation, which is for PG dips. That was my target because I'm in a business school. I wanted to attend to all of the markets in the space. Then writers, which is what me and Professor Solomon Oyelere, who is joining us now from the UK, he flew in today. Professor Oyelere, wherever you are. So it's a space we are fiddling with where we allow you to come from any field at all and sit with us. We do the AI, you do the writing, we brainstorm, we co-author the true definition of multidisciplinary research. So that's what we're doing in that space. So with that, we thought we would make university happy. University likes to be happy when this thing is the case. Prof. So, but then it's going to be in AI and application, serious games because we love that space, digital transformation, algorithms, all of that. However, what would keep the society stable, however, is arrows that leave that box into this other kind of orange parallel stuff I have on the left, which is apps, games, and all of that from the lab, as innovation outputs for government, which we've done for Chemical CETA, we've done for SACNASP, Science Association, we've done for a couple of them, and also societies across Africa. And recently we're training small businesses to use AI, meaning that we can also ship that into some old box of guys that we call tech entrepreneurs, kind of thing. They can do their own websites themselves. They can use AI to solve their own problems and save a lot of money. So pretty much what I've been busy with in one picture. Now, these are things that keep me up at night, existential questions. I've received many emails, many text messages asking me, what motivates you? Sometimes I search my soul myself. I kind of feel lost. When I realized it is this question, so I had to put them together. I had to call Prof. Van Lille to check with him if I was crazy, and he was laughing. I'll show you some of the questions. So the technological innovation is non-stop, and I'll tell you why before I end my talk. I had to change the way programming was taught. Programming was taught like test, assignment, exam. It's impossible to teach programming that way. Programming is something you have to do every day. It has to become second nature. you don't have to, you have to do every day. It's like gym. So you go to the gym 1 week and come back 6 weeks after you want to build muscles. No. It doesn't work. You come every day, take the right diet, and you build. So also with Spinel's innovations, but what was important to me was products. Theory, I loved it. Practice, I loved it more, but I couldn't survive in a corporate because they wanted me to be there from 8 to 4. In academia, I could go in at 8 p.m. and come back 7 a.m. And when colleagues are coming in, I'm going out. Products was important so that we can solve for society as well. Society, of course, I've mentioned that. I wanted to reach out the countries. I wanted to raise enough money sometime in future to give laptops to kids in disadvantaged area from Burundi to Kenya to Somalia, whatever they are from, and put solar panels on their roofs. I was just thinking a lot of crazy stuff. Yes, I know. Machines with Minds, I want an unrestricted space where IP can be shared for Africans to grow faster. Because the IP policies, I've read them, they're quite restrictive. Of course, make UN happy with SDGs, but the startup companies are going to feed those families. Commercialize everything commercializable. And one thing I didn't plan that happened was HR. So human resource go through a lot, looking for talent. Now they made me their best friend. Because they came to my lab to hire these guys who are disciplined, who are smart, good grades in the classroom, like a full package of a student. And they placed them on salaries that were unbelievable. Some of them were earning up to 40,000 rands as a starting salary. But internships went from about 8,000 to 12 or maybe 16 if you're lucky. If you're in the bank, 18. But my students were earning up to 40 at the age of 21. So I was able to do that. And these guys, for hiring my students, of course, I don't want to advertise, but you see their names there. Leadership, fragment of my taste. I've been privileged several times, trusted by colleagues to lead. One of the guys who gave me the first leadership position at UJ, sitting right here, Professor Van Lee, just dropped me an email and says, Jide, would you be the general chair? You probably have forgotten, of ICICIS Conference 2017. I said, sir, say less. Sign me up. Yeah, because I don't turn down opportunities. So Prof. Van Lee sitting there gave me the first leadership position. I was deputy HOD. I sat on some of those committees. I saw how things are run. But then I'm a grassroots guy, so I'm a lab guy. So I still have to go back there and then go up to boardrooms and come back. So that journey has been quite a bumpy one. International, I wanted to find people that care, people that really actually care, people that are not transactional. Transactions are easy, you know, like, what grade are you? Grade 12? Okay, we're going to put you in university, bye-bye. All right. And then co-solve with those people. So for these questions, are we in the loop? Are we all just going to live and die? You know how the story goes. You're born, you went to high school, primary school, varsity. And then what else? You have 3 kids, 4 kids. What else do people do? You have midlife crisis. Yeah, that one is coming for everybody, midlife crisis. And then the doctor gives you some bad news when you're 58 or 62. And then at 72, you lie in your grave, and that's it. There must be more to it. So the fact that there must be more to it challenged me, and I couldn't sleep. The alien test was a division problem. So I realized that instead of solving problems, we were busy talking about what religion is just what is mine. That's so small in the grand scheme of things. So I call something the alien test. If aliens were to come down right now, and they want to break into this door, and it requires all the strength of everyone here to keep them out, guess what? Race disappears, religions disappears, everything, gender, everybody, all of those lines disappear. We are behind the door to save ourselves. So, but the interesting thing is, aliens are actually here. It's called poverty. So, if poverty is here for Africa, then why are we still dividing ourselves? It's a waste of time. Let's sit around the table and solve. Then, the next one that kept me up at night was that I was thinking, does it really matter how long I live? Well, everybody I spoke to wanted to live long. They didn't know what they were going to do with those years anyway, but they wanted them. 95, 98, they gave me in large numbers. I thought, you know what? If you gave me a deal 1, I live 90 years, I do nothing. Nobody knows my name, I never get to do anything. But you give me 40 years, and I do a lot, and I change the world the way it is for the better. What deal do you think I'm going to take? Albert? So we are busy being carried away about how long we live as opposed to just doing work with that time that we have. And examples, if you're religious, if you're Christian, you probably know about Jesus Christ. He died at 33. Man has been around for 2,000 years. He died at 33. Tupac died at 25. He's been around as well. And there is also this part where you live for yourself, that the emptiness then only strikes you in your 70s and 80s. There's just this void in your chest. You have the money now. Everything is sorted. And that's why I will quote Bob Marley on that one. So live for yourself. You live in vain. You live for others. You live again. So those questions kept me going. Is the system broken? So I tried not to attack the system. When I say system, I mean the whole enterprise itself, education. I don't mean one university, all right? I mean the whole big scheme, from Harvard, Oxford, Stanford, everyone. All the guys that give you what you do on Coursera. A guy shows up on the video, hi students, and then you do 3 weeks, and you still don't have a job after. Is that system broken? So that kept me up at night. Feedback loop of unemployed graduates kept me up as well. What does that mean? It means that there's a guy who was average through school, which is not a problem, who graduated, couldn't get a job, which is still not a problem. But this guy just made enough marks to get into a master's program, all right? When you have a deficiency, the right thing is to first muscle up, to fill up that gap. I always tell people, do not celebrate 50%. It means 50% of the knowledge is not in your mind. That's what it means. That guy comes through the system, becomes a lecturer without any mentoring. Well, we thank God for NGAP. That came quite late. But before that, there was nothing. This guy is just thrown in front of students to show them what to do. And there were modules he failed 8 years ago. He's still afraid of those modules, traumatic. Now, this guy is the one teaching that module now. Now, tell me what's the chance of the 18-year-old person that you call dumb, which is practically impossible to be dumb at 18. You could be lazy at 18, which means you've practiced laziness for 6 years, from the age of 12 to 18, thereabout. But if you fall in my lab, you pick that up, we erase it in 2 weeks. We give you a laptop, and then you don't want to go home, and you sit there. So we have colleagues like that came back, and we really love them, but the system did not cater for them in terms of upskilling them and keeping them strong enough to impact knowledge. Does that make sense? So I'm not attacking anyone. The next one is, how much is the module worth? Because if I know, Prof. Tia, this first in your portfolio, if we look at all of the modules on CAT, and some of them are worth R0, we can just strike them out. We don't have to be emotional about things. Yeah, we just look for what the future is saying. We're putting new modules in that thing. Who trains the trainer? I spoke about that. Every academic needs a mentor. I'm lucky. At the end of my slide, you see a couple of names. Professor Ibrahim Monet has been about 11 going to 12 years. He's been there for me. Prof. Van Lille, when I'm stuck and I'm thinking I'm the crazy one, he says to me, you're not the crazy one. Calm down. Yeah. So best minds are inaccessible. There's what I call the Einstein cave, where a professor puts in front of his office, do not knock, book appointment first. But this is the smartest guy in physics. So how do I learn physics? I'm just 19. So there's a cave there. They move from office to labs, and not even a public lecture throughout the year. And he publishes papers that you cannot read as well. It's called the Newton's language. The paper is so sophisticated you cannot read. So access denied. How much theory is enough theory? It's a question for another day. I love theory because it's a fundamental base for knowledge building. But then if it's not going to put food on the table of people, then we might just settle for about 30, 40% thereabout, make the remaining 60 or 70% practice, just so that people can feed their families. Why wish I to have the conversation about volume versus quality? I can play volume too. Trust me, I can even use AI to write papers. But the guys that get the crown on a good day are the guys that have, in a year, they have 45 journal articles. But they don't remember what was written in any of them. So quality, that question came to my mind. AI updates are daily curriculum at best. I sat on many teaching and learning committees. There's what we call teach out plan. So you can just strike out something overnight. You have to plan to strike it out. So at best, curriculums in 3 years intervals, that's when they change. Then there's what I call the classroom oral game. My students always look forward to being in the lab because it was a getaway for them. A lecturer actually at UJ, whose name, of course, I'm not going to say, literally told one of my students many years ago that I'll try to fail you. Let's play a game. He said, let's play a game. I'm going to try to fail you. You try to pass. Let's play. So at that point, you're already defeated as an 18-year-old. More questions? 95% of university. So if I'm from University X and you're from University Y, how do we benchmark that? We're not talking about that. Prof, are we talking about that? We're not. HR doesn't even talk about that. HR just looks at do you have 65 honors programs? But we know in our hearts that the quality of the academics on this side, infrastructure on this side, previously disadvantaged universities is not the same as our top world-class universities. So why are we pretending? So that's another question that kept me up. How many innovation is equal to one journal article? Then why am I smart and broke? Can't I just flip this knowledge into money? Which then means we need the industry guys to teach us how to do this. The guys we've been hiring are the wrong guys. The guys that can put a dollar value on every piece of knowledge and information, they're sitting there in Santon. We should allow them to come in. JBS, thanks to our dean, you have your program around professors of practice, and the influence is quite felt on the ground. If all universities were to close down, what would academics do with their lives? Where would they make their money? How would they feed themselves? How many academics have any other portfolio apart from teaching, learning, research? Those are other questions. Because then that question leads to the next one, which speaks to retirement, which means when they retire now, they are forced to die in 5 years because they are not active. They're not active. And because also they've been busy with this whole fictitious power that doesn't actually exist because the knowledge was never given to society itself. All right? Where do retired professors go? Who has a guess? Consulting if they had practice in their theory. Where else? Now, don't be like that, you're too ash. You're too ash. All right, okay, I'll make that a rhetoric question. Please think about that. When we have in drinks later, we can talk about it. Why does all this matter, these things about religion? It's too easy, it's too cheap. So if you tell me that, if I ask you, why does existing matter? Why is Prof. Jide here? Why did this woman decide to make me in 1985? What's my answer? If I just throw religion at you as a response, that God wanted it. That's an easy way out. I believe we need to think thoroughly about purpose and talent and what it needs to be used for before the dying day. Because then if the dying day comes, then all of the talent was never exhausted and then we never actually achieved much. So listen to the next one. There are many things in our spectrum. There's what you call the idea of the dying day. And listen to me, this is not dark, I promise you. The dying process, all right? Some people is short, it's quick. Some people is lengthier, plane crash, gunshot, others. Let's not talk about it. But we care more about afterlife. That's where religion assists us to make us feel good. Religion is, I'm a big fan of religion. You know why? It keeps us sane and happy even when things are not right. That's good, yeah. And we crave a great living experience. But conveniently, we leave out the idea of a dying, that it could even happen tomorrow on a plane crash. We conveniently leave it out. Because if we were to process these ideas, guess what? We'll be the most humble people, most helpful people, most reflective people in the world. The reason is we've left those components out. In fact, we could even be more religious now. All right? When are we going to start questioning structures? Because I hear people tell me, this how it's done, this how it's done. I think 100 years is enough time to wait. And all of the things we do, most of them, especially around the corridors of education, they're quite 100 years old or more. My PhD story, I had the co-supervisor, great gentleman, he told me, he said, Jide, this is not customary to have 14 chapters in your PhD. 5 chapters are good. That's how we do it, or 6 at most. But Jide, I see how you organized it. His name was Ian Sanders. He's retired now. I see how you organized it. So, and it makes sense to me that this compartment fits together. So 14 chapters it is, because it was not even lengthy. It was about 188 pages. But then I just had to organize in a way that anyone can read it. Does that make sense? But who made it 6 chapters? And how long ago was that? So the gold in town are the students. Imagine having the youngest, the brightest, the strongest amongst you, but they are invisible in the grand scheme of things. They can't even pay their fees. If you ask those guys to wipe the floor for 30 days and you pay them fees, they will do it. If you ask them to be your secretaries, they'll do it. But now you're saying, we need to raise funds. We don't have money. Missing middle. These guys can work. So because when you're not utilizing them, they're on the streets, doing things you don't like them to do. So that was one thing. So in my space, my students, they work in my lab, they make money, they pay their own fees. There was a year I had a student buy a car. One was earning 22,000 Rand a month. And then I had a postdoc earning 18,333 Rand at the same time, which made no sense. This guy got PhD. This one is studying BCom in second year. So does work even have a future? So I've had arguments about future of work. I have my own argument. I'll tell you when we are there. Work doesn't have a future. But then, yeah, because software developers in the house, can I see your hands? Most code fragments these days, you just ask ChatGPT, yes? Yeah, work doesn't have a future. If you can be replaceable as a software developer, then who else? So I have, forgive me, I'm going to go back to my roots now. I have a Yoruba proverb here that says, "Imo ati oye nikan." I have subtype too, don't worry. Nikan kò tó nǹkan. Inú kan àti ọkàn kan ni iyì ọmọ ènìyàn. Ìtẹ̀síwájú gbogbo ìlú ni kókó. It goes, in translation, knowledge is not enough. You can be smart by itself. It's not everything. We need to care about our society and go for the guys who cannot do it and reach out to everyone for progression. All right. All right, so now to the boring stuff. All right. AI and applications is what I'm being professed, I'm being called a professor for. So I'm just going to touch on that just very briefly. Of course, I'm not going to go through a lot of it. So what I have done is that in my space, there are different kinds of AI you think is one big thing. It's a lot of sub-branches and domains. So it's what we call rule-based AI. That's where you use, you know the rules that the machine should obey. Then you kind of craft mathematical equations to tell them about the rules. And then the machines then behave accordingly to those rules. So I've done some work in that space. Excuse me. Applied AI is a space where you would have something someone has built already, and then you just sit on that thing, pick a societal problem, solve it with that AI, and that's it. Game AI, I love this part because I've always been a gamer. I love games. Me and Prof Maria Franapte, we created some games together a couple of years ago. So in this space, you make game characters behave intelligent because if they're not looking intelligent, the game becomes boring. It becomes non-replayable, we call it. So we play it one time, you just shut it out. So we use AI in that space. I do some work. And new algorithms in general, and applications of those algorithms to societal problems. So you might find some of my work. I'm not going to sit on them. One of the work that I like so much was, there's a topic in computer science that everybody always struggled with. It's called formal languages and automata theory. One of the things that you struggle with in computer science is how to learn regular expressions. So that year, I was able to write some AI that would generate problems and solutions. But interestingly, multiple choice solutions. And now, interestingly, confusing options, only one is right. Yeah, and I could do it on millions of problems. We just enter button. So yeah, I had to write a paper about it, of course. So that was that one. Then also practice problems for students so that they can practice. That was that other I took from 2018. And still on rule-based AI, did some work when I was finishing my PhD with my supervisors, Sigrid Ivets and Ian Sanders, and it was about using a graph-like structure to find many solutions for a programming problem and help a student out to solve. So we call it Code Advisor, an interesting one. And now, recently, Dr. Chinedu Okonkwo is here. Where is he? Dr. Okonkwo? Yes. So this is one of our works. It was my postdoc for about 2 years. We worked about generation of nested loops. Also something students struggle with. Then with the applied AI part, of course, still with Okonkwo, we had this chatbot that could teach programming. Lecturers are not always available. Such a limited resource. It's nice if machines can do that job. This was before ChatGPT, by the way. We just made it before ChatGPT. Yeah. Then Peter Lujimi was my master's student that year, and I saw him earlier. Is he here, Peter? Okay. Oh, that's him over there. So we worked on something that could automatically respond to your, you know, when you're running a big company, you're a small company, but you're running a lot of clients, people then post on Facebook, Twitter, you want AI to go there, read the comments and tell them what the answer to their problem is. So basically, it's like mocking up FAQs, frequently asked questions, and making sure it's being a response to the post on social media. So that's what his master's was based on. It's also a recent work, 2022. Then on games, I'm going to go to Prof. Maria now. You and I did something together, 2022. This time it was with undergraduate students where they were in second year. Beautiful stuff. So we created a game that could teach students about plagiarism. And UJ Library, under the leadership of Prof. Maria, was quite supportive. I wish everybody was like Prof. Maria. We probably would have had 1 million innovations right now. So it was easy working with her, and then we published that work. The last one I'll mention is Puzzle Generation for Action Adventure Games. It was a master's at supervised at VETS. Was for a student of mine called Mark Durham. And Ms. Modely will tell me now if that's the professor you just inaugurated a few days ago, his son, because he told me his father was a professor. Yeah, that could be a coincidence, but he got a distinction for it. And what we did there, we used AI algorithms as well to generate games that when you play them, every time everything is new. So, and it was part of his master's. Copyright, we had what we call Zulu Python. You could write code in isiZulu because Africans deserve that at least. China is enjoying it. France is enjoying it. Germany is enjoying it. Everybody's speaking their language. Why can't an African write code in an African language? I mean, even if it's just for sport. Yeah. Not trying to prove a point, just for sport. Yeah. Then we had another one with Professor Marius Waite from Marketing Department, which was called Learn and Earn app. This one is commercialized every year. It makes money for 3 companies. Students are getting paid about 750,000 rands in stipends and working integrated learning schemes from this app. We have it living in our lab right now. I have 2 people here that are supporting the app right now. Can I see your hands? That's Tadi, and who's the other person? Okay, yeah, Anovayo. So every year I get students to support the app. They graduate, I hire more students to support the app. Again, hire your students to do the job. They make money, they feed their families, everybody wins. So innovations, pedagogy speaking, I train. I'm not going to bore you with this. This is how I train. I just make sure that when they exit, they are highly skilled, just so that those numbers can come, those large salaries, because those families are waiting for it. And what the secret is while you're studying, I'm training you. I must make sure that you put in effort. With some kids, I have to kick them out first, and they come back, and they say, Prof, I messed up. Can I please get back in? I'm like, okay, second chance. But I don't give you infinite chances. So if you're not putting your head in the right place, I actually get to kick you out. They build portfolio of projects and work experience by graduation. Before, I had it only for STEM spaces, science, technology spaces. And last year, the miraculous thing is that I was able to open it up for everyone at UJ. 477 of them across all faculties. Now they can code, and that was special. And also, I was able to extend it to unemployed graduates, and AI for small businesses was something else. Then evidences are in IP creation, entrepreneurship, jobs, commercialized products, the list goes on. Gallery of innovations. I'm not going to bore you so much. I just want to get water, if you would allow me. This man is dehydrated. Thank you, I'm back. So, again, this is by no means an exhaustive list. It's just some things I would like to share with you guys. JBS in VR. So the future of online teaching for MBA programs, sir, your programs, would be if I can sit on my couch with my VR headset and be in the classroom, and then have my classroom, and then I remove my headset, and then I'm still on the couch. And I'm in Germany. So we actually created a whole virtual experience of the whole business school, JBS Park in VR. Teaching evaluation software, this belongs to Dr. Ketty Menon, Dr. Kibit Naidu, yourself, Professor Tiedevet. This was their project. They wanted us to replace a software company in somewhere in Netherlands that was charging 2 million in license every year. We did it in-house. It worked very well. And now sitting with you, and we're supporting you in that space. This is a government teaser for students in high school. It's a science teaser. It's an app. This one is an augmented reality experience. So this one pops out specific items or props in science, explains it to you. It could be like the solar stuff, whatever. And now you can change the language to Zulu or whatever language you want. So it also has a decolonization component to it. This one, we modeled this one after Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or something, all right? So this one is like Who Wants to Be Scientific Royalty. So you just answer science questions and you get crowns as you play. It's 3D, it's immersive as well. Last year, we were able to digitize their online assessment tool because they used to go to a venue and people would sit and write assessments on pen and paper. We did that. Grant system, they give out about R500 million every year in grants. Guess where those things, the records were? On spreadsheets. Yes, and then your department needs to talk to my department. We reconcile the spreadsheets to make sure that you've paid the first tranche, you've paid the second tranche. So we actually computerize and give them dashboards and all of that. And when I say we, it's me and those 19-year-olds that you think they were not smart. All right. VR courtroom, where's Prof. Michelle? Yes, so she's the culprit for this one. So she reached out, she wanted to immerse a courtroom. I gave a talk, then it triggered some thinking, and our colleagues came. Before then, I done law bot with her. So it was a law of practice, that was the module she was teaching. So I gave her a chatbot with my students as well to assist in teaching. Then now we have a whole courtroom, a South African courtroom in virtual reality, meaning that a child doesn't have to physically be in a courtroom to learn the things that happen there. They design all the content. Of course, I'm not a lawyer. Of course, you could have guessed that part. So she has all of that. That's for her. Okay. JBS mobile app. That one is just an app that allows you to see what we are busy with in JBS. DevGame 2, now it's immersive for us. We had a version of this at first. Now you can actually, as a lecturer, use the controllers to like write on the whiteboard and have people in an immersive environment. Food app, this is for you, Prof. Tia. Yep. Food app, students usually have fantastic programs around feeding students. Problem is when these food parcels arrive, the boys, they muscle the girls out of the queue. There are many other issues that happen. I discussed with Prof. Tia about it, and she wanted us to build an app where we can decentralize the distribution. And we can even appoint students in nodes to distribute like 4 or 5 packages and all of that. We had an app about it. If you're a Kingsman, you worked on this project, can I see your hands? Guys that worked on it? Good. So those guys you see there, they worked on this project. Santa teaching privacy. This was a chapter of a book that we turned into an experience so that instead of reading it in book, you can actually experience the book. Rogue AI, Penil Tesfaye, where are you? So this was his honors innovation for his honors dissertation. He works as a software engineer now. This is one of our alumni as well. Pro Inspector, did Ilan make it here? Ilan? No? Okay. So Pro Inspector as well allowed students that were studying property management to inspect a property without actually having to go to a property during COVID-19. This was beautiful. It was timely. We had papers around it with colleagues in our space. Plague warfare, this is Prof. Maria, this is your baby. This campus you see, it's in VR, in immersive environments. It's a 3D game, but you can see that that's the APB library. So we computerized it. Loss aversion was one of my colleagues at CBE called Jody Bolton. So this is a new version of it as well. What loss aversion allows us to do in financial management is to measure how people react to losses when they gamble, when they try to invest. So this game does that. And DSA UJ app, this is Prof. Marius Wade. And we have something now that is called credibility checker. It's beautiful. If you're a small business, you put some inputs, it's going to tell you how credible you are based on some AI algorithms as well. I have some students in the house that were part of that. I can see their faces here. Drew, where are you? Andrew, Cabena. Yeah, guys, Cabena is there, very shy. Yeah. So electrochemistry in VR was an experience to have a whole lab that might cost 25 million rand, but inside virtual reality so that we can take it to the townships with just $50 headset. We're able to implement that as well. We're able to train small businesses inside virtual reality because we realized that their PowerPoints they forgot. Every time they were forgetting what they were trained about. Lawbot, that's to you, Prof. Michelle. Law of contract, it's a bot that supports the teaching of law of contract. And there were many, many more things we did. Bots, your first chatbot at the UG Library, Prof. Maria, that was us. It was our early days, 2016, 2017. Our early days of SAT Lab was for Faculty of Health Sciences. So I've really enjoyed the collaboration with colleagues across faculties, especially the ones that were like, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. It's been a fun journey. Wrapping up. Impact. So I only teach necessary theory in my space. If I know something is going to fill up your mind, like Bosano-Wester's theorem and 3 pages of theorem that you never use for the rest of your life, I would rather not teach it. I would rather just teach you something that could make you money right now. So I train to create or to produce innovations. That's my target. My model at the JBS is face-to-face. However, I have people across Africa. Last year, I was able to take 477. It's a large number, but the dean was gracious. He gave me the space, told me, Jide, do you. And he was standing beside me as well to recognize those candidates when they finished. 249 of them finished. Again, do not forget, it's wrong to think 100 people will come out with the same muscle and strength, all right? Some people need only 1 more year or 6 more months to get to that level. So do not kick yourself, even if you're a lecturer and you couldn't get high pass rate, but you assure your standards are perfect. So we keep it very solid so that we don't have to water down the standards to make people go through. And online at 116 students across 11 African countries, 38 institutions, that was last year. Now the footprint has been 26 African countries. It looks like this in a picture. Some of the guys here might actually be here. Who knows? I think Ruan is here. Ruan, where are you, Ruan? That's Ruan is here, yeah. So Ruan was part of my program from last year. Now he's a big boy. Now he's writing apps and all of that. So this is what it looks like on the map, my impact in Africa, the work I do. It looks like the North is neglected. That was not the plan. I just had to wait to use my AI to speak Arabic, and now I'm at that full potential. So I'm moving into the North, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia. We're taking that space. And I have some guys that are assisting in that space as well. And opportunities. Last year, we were able to pay about 1.5 million out to students in work-integrated learning. That's what they call it textbook-wise, but what we're doing on the ground, it's kind of very hectic because we also make sure the student gives us distinctions. If they get bad grades in a classroom, Prof. Siam will call me and say, Jide, what's going on? Because she needs good grades. So we have to balance the two. And I can tell you, all Greek Labbers here are top performers. All right, guys, ring it out for you guys. So the year before, it was 1.1 million, and we were in the center. We were the main exhibition of the AI Institute of South Africa in 2022 when the minister came around to launch it. We are privileged to have access to top gadgets donated to us by good-willed people. If any investor is in the house, I see my friend there, the gentleman over there, the money bag guys, please. We don't say no to money, all right? So exit opportunities are well, Lordville is here. I saw Lordville earlier on. Yeah, Lordville, your photo is in the middle here. That was you in second year, sir. Yeah. So he's a software engineer now at Darrell. Have you left Darrell? You're still there, yeah? All right. So that was the Lordville in second year. Spoils of War, about 65 major awards in teaching, learning, innovation. That was not the intention when I got started. Again, the passion, those questions I was asking at first drove me. Then Prof. Van Lee was the first to recognize me for teaching and learning. He called me the top senior lecturer of the CBE. The year was 2018, sir. That was you. I stood actually here, took that frame and the award, and it was then Prof. Chiliti Marwala, Innovation of the Year, then Teaching and Learning Excellence. These awards were not the plan. The plan was just to make sure we solve something before we die. So In estimation of both cash and value, we are sitting at about 357 million in rands, or 20 million in USD. The work I have done, and 1.5 billion contributed in 2020 in licensing. And that was just so that students could have access to online learning programs, everything. And that was with Professor Charis Ali. She just joined at the time. She was also by my side to assist me on that project. And of course, the VC Awards, and the money came every year. So that UJ told me, if you left us, we won't pay you next year. So obviously, that's why I'm still here. So, Africa Impact Award, thanks to TAU, Thomas Adewumi University, Nigeria. They say, hey, you're doing so much work abroad. How about us? And I felt like a guilty Nigerian. Then I had to go back home. So my projects in Nigeria are kind of increasing. The JBS now has an MOU with Thomas Adewumi University. The dean, you signed that thing off. And it's quite an upcoming, very fast university in Nigeria. So they also gave me the Africa Impact Award last year. But the list is long, so I'm not going to bore you with the details of that. Reflections, nobody told me this was so hard. Nobody told me. So but my dad painted academia as though it was like bread and butter. It's like easy. I thought even if it was going to be hard, it's going to be content, research or something, or teaching. But actually the people have strong opinions. Then there are things that are believed, and if they're believed about you, unfortunately, and nobody asked you about it, you could actually be sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Yeah, so academia was harder than I expected, I must confess. I've been in the industry for many years before. Another reflection is, why do you want to train students? We're not in 1975. If you want to train students and we're in 1975, I'm happy. Because they will have access to no social media, no more information apart from what you give them at home, in the library, and the classroom. But these guys are on TikTok. So you need to bring discipline back. The only way you can win is to have them disciplined. So I train soldiers in my space, people that are responsible for their actions, people that they entrust me to give them orders and they execute. And when they graduate and become like these guys, they come back now with wisdom and they help me to grow the empire more. But when you're still 18-year-old, I want to tell you what to do. I know it doesn't sound nice, but trust me, the worst you can become is me. And I didn't turn out so bad. So instead of you roaming around Auckland Park, going looking from one pub to another pub, smoking things that you don't understand, sit here, I'll give you a laptop and I'll tell you what to do. So we need to bring back that kind of old school. 1 to 3 years' time, I want to, now I'm having this consortium with Professor Ilere here. We want to reach out to researchers around the world. We have a program we actually launched already, also with Dr. Masuta here, assisting us with CR, Center for Emerging Researchers, to publish. This time around, we wanted to break the matrix. So we learned that you couldn't do quality and quantity at the same time. It's always been the case. You go read the profile of professors that have 4 or 5 journal articles a year. Decent work. Some other professors have 40 journals a year. But we are thinking, we can actually do this. We have soldiers. We have the best minds to mentor. And we have writers, which are academics like us, that have common interest. So we are running a hackathon later this month, which we are going to do that. And we want to publish on a large scale, make the university happy, get those, what's it called, subsidies, and all that. Yeah, we're open to do that. 3 to 5 year time, I think for me, I'll be open to any leadership position I'll be placed in to assist. If this kind of approach to doing things would be acceptable. 5 years plus, I think we'll be open to positions in Nigeria to assist my people, actually. To run some things out of Nigeria into Africa, because I'm very Pan-African, but I love my country, as you might have guessed. 10 to 12 years, 12 years from now, I'll be 50, I'm retiring from workload allocation, from, performance, yeah? Yeah, retire into a space where I can do only social projects, things that make me truly, truly happy. Then after that, I'll just get a rocking chair somewhere, pour myself some whiskey and swing and do some fishing. Yeah, some fishing. And maybe after 20 years, then I will just watch these guys run the world, these guys here. So I'm almost done. Machines with Minds. It's an idea that came that if the institutions are not taking this beat of allowing the students, in second years, some of these guys can commercialize and bring you 4 million. I can sit with you with whatever structure you have, but it cannot be in a box, because if it is, it's no longer innovation. That's why the industry is doing it. So Machines with Minds is a space that we are conceptualizing to allow Greek labbers across Africa to go and do their thing. So it's not going to be university affair. They go there, they do their thing, they govern themselves. I can guide them, yes. They govern themselves, they create a piece of software for Burundi or for Kenya, they make $10 million from it, they feed their families, they're happy, all right? But if I want to promise them job here, and they graduate with theory, I know what's going to happen. I've seen that road where it leads. South Africa, it's my passion. I want to, social innovation, some piece of software that can be scaled across 17 African countries, 22 African countries, or as many as you can tell. Suggestions going forward, I think with great teaching, you can close the loop. Teaching is so powerful, Madam Deputy Vice Chancellor. That portfolio is everything, I think, because that bakes these guys that will change the world. I think solving problems is top for research. I think we missed that sometime. We can mix it up multidisciplinary. We're doing that right now. Politics, AI, Agric and AI, history and VR, everyone is not going to be left out. No one is going to be left out. And institutions, those maker spaces, the reason why they don't work, I know. It's because by the time you get the guy to run it, he's a PowerPoint guy that comes and still does PowerPoint. PowerPoint doesn't do this thing. You know, so it has to be someone, a young person can ask a question and they can get a response. Commercialization, we have to get that one right. AI tools that are getting released, jobs are getting lost. Grit is missing, effort is everything. We have to weave it back into our traditional teaching. I won't mind if UJ next year has a module called Grit, and it just makes you wake up 4 a.m. in the morning. That's it. If you wake up 4 a.m., you get 100%. 5 a.m., you get 90%. Yeah, and you just have to clock into with an app that I'm awake. I'm studying now, you know. Yeah, that would be an interesting one. I believe 4-hour scale is for all is possible at some level. I invite you to visit us at the JBS Innovation Lab. I'm wrapping up now. I'm done, actually. My mentors, a man like me cannot be baked out of nothing, all right? When I was a PhD student at VET, Professor Ibrahim Omoniat, sitting here, would respond to my talk now. He would ask me, Jide, you're not funded. Jide, take this sectional lecturing position. He actually gave me a job, but I couldn't take it because of some politics me and him cannot discuss here. So he's been there with me for 11 years. So it is for Prof. Momoniat that, for his sake and the efforts he puts in those years, that I'm standing here. Professor Wilfred Ukpere is not here. I call him the godfather because he's seen it all. So anytime he's here at UJ, anytime I'm confused with academia and now people are moving sideways, I call him and I ask him, he says to me, no, go relax. Then my blood pressure goes down. Professor Gilbert Kadiagala, a Pan-Africanist par excellence, VET University. I met him in 2013 as well. I think he's still at VET, probably the HOD of politics. He is a Kenyan national, but he is also an American, and he had his PhD from Johns Hopkins. I learned so much from him, the way he saw the world. He saw the whole world like a small room, and your friend today can be my enemy tomorrow, all of that thing. He messes up my mind with those philosophical things, so my mind was well messed up before then. My supervisors are Ian Sanders and Sigrid Yvette. Professor Van Leeuw, who hired me to join UJ, sitting right there, is, yeah. So, he's the man who hired me. Kelvin Buala, the man who, when he joined as an associate professor, I joined as a senior lecturer, and I was kind of following his steps. And he would tell me, no. I remembered getting the students' external examination, 2 reports. The other examiner says, this was great. This examiner says, it was nothing. Then I was kind of like trying to fight it, like a third opinion. He says to me, no, Jide, no. Jide, you don't fight these things. Just get another opinion. Just let him re-examine it. Look at a reviewer's report and everything, because we were very proud of the work we had done. And then we moved like that. So because of him, I learned a lot, Prof. Kevin Buala. And the man who taught me teaching portfolio writing, sitting there, Professor Sivan Chetty. Prof. Chetty, thank you very much. So thank you for listening. I have one thing here. For everyone that makes me feel at home in South Africa, obviously I'm far from home, so I'm always outnumbered. Yes? It makes sense? But if you are here, you're listening to me, and you made me feel at home, I want to say thank you to you. So I have other names here, professors, colleagues, Chuje Fawale, you're here, Professor Clinton Ababwa, I'm not sure if you've made it here, and my collaborator, UJ Prof. Tia, Kibinaidu, Hima, Vadapali from VETS, now UJ, Michelle, you're here, Prof. Marius, you're here, Prof. Messi Mpinganjira, my director of my school then. She also always tells me, Prof. Messi here, she also always tells me, Jide, yeah. Jide, calm down. Because, yeah, Prof. Messi, thank you for those years of mentoring as well. Conrad, Protection Service. Conrad, we always make sure he's there to assist Prof. Randall Carolisi, my dean, for the clean canvas to do the work that I do, which is very unconventional work. I thank you for your support. Prof. Maria, you're here, Jody Bolton, Maurice Masuta. We're still going to do some very, very serious work, you know. Yeah. Mumeleli, is Mumeleli? Yeah, you're right, yeah. Machaka is in absentia as well. She's the director of the Center for Entrepreneurship at JBS. And sponsors and support from all these entities. Bella Madama, thank you for the garment. Bella, thank you for the garment. And this is where I call it. I thank you very much for listening to my long rant.
So thank you, everyone. I think everyone's been formally greeted, formally thanked. It falls to me just to respond to what was said today. I've known Jide since 2013. I forgot how long it was. I think my big mistake was I had an open door policy. And that meant that students like Jide could just knock on my door, walk in, and start talking and not stop. To get him to stop, I think I offered him a job. That got him to stop. So yeah, Jide, I'm sorry, I had to be honest. And one of the things I noticed is that from Jide's talk, young people, you might get the idea that academics don't sleep. We don't, right? We worry 24 hours a day, I want to say 8 days a week. My supervisor, when I started teaching, he said to me, oh, there's 24 hours in the day, but then there's the night as well, right? So that's the background. That's the department Jide grew up in when he did his PhD. It's very clear that Jide is an advocate for young people, and this is not just young in age, young in spirit, young in ideas, and he's managed to create a safe space. And that's one of the things that's lacking. There isn't a good space for young people to just be young, to enjoy themselves, to think about the future that they want to create. And I want to say that it's clear from this talk that that's what's been achieved at the business school. I'm a mathematician. I run from business. Had Jide taught me, I probably would have done an MBA, right? I would have felt conned into doing an MBA, but I would have done an MBA. As I was listening to the talk, I asked myself, you know, what is innovation? And what does it mean to innovate? And why did Jide have heart in the title? You know, that's, I wasn't his supervisor, so, you know, it's one of those things where you think you're students and you just, you know, you roll your heads down. But it's clear that Jide does have a philosophy. He may not have a teaching philosophy, but he has a life philosophy. And I think that life philosophy drives a lot of what he does and what he's shown us today. I always also asked myself, you know, what is the price that's been paid for Jide to do this? And I think every academic will tell you it's lots of failure, right? Academics fail more than they succeed, right? We get rejection letters more than probably most people. I still get a panic attack when I see reject, and I phone my mother and I say, how can they say this, you know? So, you know, and she says, as Jide has said, you know, it's okay, the world's not over, and you start over the next day. You go and sleep and you wake up and you start again. And you learn from the experience, and that's such a vital life skill that the young people here have obviously held on to. Because to do this kind of thing, to try and innovate, is to fail. 1 out of 10 or 20 things that you do will succeed, but that one thing will have impact. That one thing will make a change. And I think that's the important part of the philosophy that's come through. The other thing I wanted to say was that it's, besides creating a safe space, it's a space that allows young people to grow into the best version of themselves, independent of their backgrounds, right? I once had someone say to me, you know, your background is like a suitcase that you carry around with you wherever you go. The day you put it down is the day you actually start growing, because then you're looking forward. You're not holding on to that bag that's keeping you back. And it's clear that through Jide's efforts, he's managed to achieve that. And that's something that should be applauded. And then what I got, and I can honestly say my students teach me all the time, is that by empowering young people to drive innovation, we create a future that we want to be a part of, right? So it's the difference between top-down innovation, do what I say, versus bottom-up innovation. What do you see? Where do you come from? What problems are you able to address and solve? And I think the most important thing that came through today is that by creating that space, we can actually solve small problems, big problems, find out how old we are. I am not doing that app because I do not want to know how old I am, but that's so valuable, it's priceless, because when we do eventually go for our long sleep, you can rest easy because you know you've left behind a legacy of young people who are changing the world. So Jide, congratulations, well done. Yeah, thank you for a very, very good talk. Thank you.
I must take off your pins, is it?
It's almost a pity that he has to remove that.
But I think we have to stop him now.
We have to stop him. Are you good? You need some help?
No, I'm good.
Fine?
Thank you, Prof.
The royalty.
Welcome. Great.
Yeah,
Please join us and stand over here.
much.
So if you stand to the front, then I can guide your arms. I know where the holes are. Wonderful. The other one is this one here. Just these two fronts. And Prof,
Now
that-
you have to bend.
Oh, yeah.
Well done, my friend. You are very, very proud.
family and friends and honored guests, I think you can agree that it was a privilege and an honor to be part of the event tonight. Let's give Professor Ade-Ibijola another round of applause. And Professor Ade, I think I absolutely agree with Professor Sivan, who said that you are a talented teacher and lecturer. And those awards, Professor Daniel, was well deserved. I think that was evident this evening. Distinguished guests, I hope you won't run away and join us for some refreshments in the lounge. And we also wish you a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you.